The story begins with a couple, Sean and his wife Andrea, living in Los Angeles. Andrea is pregnant, and while both are excited about their baby, Sean struggles with financial stability. He works as a school security guard, hoping the principal will recommend him for a better-paying private security job. Sean believes this step could finally secure their future. The opening scene takes place in a hospital where Andrea is having an ultrasound. The doctor mentions some pregnancy complications, but also gives Sean useful advice to better support her. From the start, Sean is shown as deeply worried about work. His main concern is providing a better life for their child. Andrea also works, but Sean dreams of the day when he earns enough for her to stop. Despite these struggles, their love for each other is strong. Sean treats everyone at work with kindness, sticking to his daily routine. But one night, something strange happens. While he's exercising outside, the streetlight begins to flicker. As he looks up, he notices unusual light in the sky, moving like a computer cursor, erratic and unnatural. Then, just as suddenly, the light disappears. The moment leaves Sean stunned and the audience unsettled, hinting the story is about to take a mysterious turn. The next evening, Sean and Andrea attend a party at the home of Christian, Sean's childhood friend, who's like a brother to him. Sean's mother died during childbirth, and when he was only 7, his father took his own life. Christian and his mother, Robin, became Sean's surrogate family. While Robin once cared for him, her sharp tongue and habit of reminding people of her favors make Sean uneasy. At the party, Robin asks about Sean's finances, but he refuses any help. She remarks that Sean's father also struggled with money, despite being brilliant, and suggests that weakness might run in the family. Later, Christian invites Sean to his basement for a private chat. Jokingly, he asks if Sean is sure about having a baby, warning he might regret it later. Sean laughs and says it's too late to turn back after 7 months. Christian reassures him, recalling a childhood memory. During a high school camping trip, a deer got trapped in a fence. While others ran, Sean calmly touched the animal, and it instantly relaxed, letting him free it. Christian calls it Sean's magic touch, proof he'll be a great dad. Sean quietly admits he wishes he still felt that confident. Sean then notices a small collection of guns. Christian explains they belonged to his wife Lori's late father. Something about them intrigues Sean, and he half jokes that he should own one. Christian advises against it, reminding him that with a baby on the way, Sean himself is all the protection his family needs. That evening, Sean and Andrea head home. On the way, Sean gets a text from his boss about a problem with the school's security system. He drops Andrea off and texts her later, saying he'll be late, so she shouldn't wait up. After fixing the school's security alarm, Sean noticed the rooftop light flickering. When he climbed up to check, a sudden, blinding light appeared in the sky. Mesmerized, he felt almost hypnotized. Darkness followed, and strange visions flashed. Sean trapped in a web-like structure, tubes connected to his head, and finally, the eerie image of his father's lifeless body beside him. He jolted awake in a hospital bed, head bandaged. Andrea calmed him, explaining he had fallen from the roof and miraculously survived with only a head injury. The doctor called his survival nothing short of a miracle. After sedation and a short stay, Sean was discharged to rest at home. Back home, Andrea scolded him for risking his life over a light bulb, reminding him that both she and their unborn child needed him safe. Sean understood and promised to be careful. As he slowly recovered, Sean began noticing something strange: new abilities. Before the accident, he could barely draw, but now he could create detailed sketches and impressive paintings, as if a hidden talent had suddenly awakened. Along with his new talents, Sean begins to experience disturbing side effects. hallucinations so vivid he can't tell what's real. One morning, he watches Andrea leaving for a meeting when suddenly he's paralyzed. An invisible force drags her into darkness before his eyes. Just as quickly, the scene shifts, as if it were only a nightmare. The next day at the hospital, Sean sees Andrea on a waiting room screen, writhing in pain. Panicked, he rushes out, only to spot a sick, disoriented version of himself on a nearby bench. Reality starts to blur, and the story grows more unsettling as Sean seems to drift further from the real world. His senses sharpen unnaturally. He can hear distant conversations and sketches obsessively. Friends and doctors are baffled. Tests show nothing abnormal, but Sean feels something is deeply wrong. Strange visions return, as though he's trapped somewhere else, struggling to break free. The incident on the school roof begins to feel like more than a fall, perhaps an alien abduction. Yet, it remains unclear if these events are real or only in Sean's mind. The film deliberately leaves the audience questioning until the very end. Sean shows the doctor his sketches and describes the strange visions and heightened hearing he's had since the accident. The doctor can't find a clear explanation, but encourages Sean to keep drawing, suggesting his mind might be trying to communicate through art. She also recommends seeing a psychiatrist, though she declines to prescribe any medication for now. Even in daylight, Sean begins noticing odd sights. One night, he hears noises at home, grabs a knife, and discovers a dog that somehow wandered inside on its own. Not wanting to keep it, Sean takes the dog to Christian. Preparing the baby's room, Sean goes out for paint, but also buys art supplies, which draws teasing remarks from Robin. Remarks Sean can hear clearly, thanks to his sharpened senses. While organizing the garage later, Sean finds old photographs of his father, and the memories stir deep emotions. While painting the baby's room, Sean drifts off, and, without realizing it, covers the wall in a strange 3D-style artwork instead of a simple paint job. Andrea finds him asleep on the floor and is unsettled by the eerie design. Sean is just as shocked. He doesn't even remember creating it. With Andrea's due date approaching, he knows he should be focused on her, but his head feels heavy and his senses keep swinging between overwhelming clarity and dreamlike fog. One night, they attend a party where Sean experiences more disturbing visions. Across the room, he sees a man staring at him with anger, only to realize it's another version of himself. He watches in disbelief as this other Sean opens its eyes wide, which suddenly change in a disturbing way. Andrea searches frantically and finally finds Sean sitting by the roadside with a nose bleeding, as if he'd hurt himself without noticing. That night, restless and uneasy, Sean wakes to find a small cut on his hand. He scratches at it obsessively until it starts to bleed, then catches a glimpse of his own eye in the mirror, twisted and unnatural, only for it to look normal a moment later. Sean grows increasingly desperate, unable to separate reality from illusion. What pains him most is feeling like a burden to Andrea instead of her protector. He confides to her that it feels as if something has trapped him, blocking his way back to her. "I keep trying to reach you," he says, "but they won't let me. Maybe I'll never get back." To Sean, the world around him no longer feels real. Andrea reassures him, urging him not to dwell on these dark thoughts. The next day, Sean meets with his doctor, who reviews his sketches, some tied to his visions, others to fragmented memories. As Sean studies her face, he senses they've met before, though he can't remember when. Aware of his family history, the doctor gently asks if he's ever had thoughts of self-harm, noting his father's tragic death. Sean admits he feels overwhelmed and sad, but insists he would never hurt himself. Still, the doctor suspects deeper struggles and withholds medication. wanting to better understand her patient's mind first. The following day, still uneasy and afraid for Andrea's safety, Sean visits Christian and asks for a gun. Christian warns it's a bad idea, but Sean, convinced something is coming for them, refuses to back down. Sean eventually paints over the strange artwork in the baby's room. Later, during a prenatal checkup, the doctor discusses Andrea's pregnancy complications, but Sean grows suspicious and unexpectedly angry. That same day, while hanging posters for the found dog, he hears a baby crying inside a nearby building. He rushes in but can't help the child, leaving the audience as confused as Sean about what's real and what's not. He continues regular visits with his psychiatrist, asking why he's changed so much and whether something is wrong with his brain. The doctor explains it could be savant syndrome, a rare condition where a head injury causes sudden artistic talent. She describes how serotonin leaks into damaged tissue, creating new neural connections and unlocking hidden abilities. It's unusual, but not dangerous, and people can live normal lives. Still, Sean quietly suspects something else, maybe even alien interference. Feeling guilty for not supporting Andrea, Sean buys bullets the next day. Andrea soon discovers the gun and argues that it's unsafe, especially with their baby coming. Instead of throwing the gun away, Sean hides it in his car. At work the following day, his boss mentions the school gate was left open overnight, and strange writing appeared on a wall. The boss drops any talk of recommending Sean for a better job, but at least allows him to keep his current position. Sean's drawings grow stranger each day, tall alien figures with hollow eyes, desert-like landscapes, and cryptic symbols like coded maps. They all seem to reflect his urge to escape. One vision even shows Sean trapped with many others in a mysterious place. Andrea becomes increasingly worried and asks what these images mean, but Sean has no answers. Through tears, she pleads for his support, reminding him that she's struggling too. Seeking clarity, Sean visits Robin and asks about Astor, which she explains is simply the name of the town where Sean's father once lived, his childhood home. But Sean suddenly sees an alien face in Robin and panics, accusing her of being one of them. To test reality, he grabs a knife and injures his own hand. The pain is real, leaving Robin frightened as she bandages the injury. Overwhelmed and desperate, Sean considers ending his life. He walks to the ocean with his gun, but can't pull the trigger, finally tossing it aside. When he returns home, he finds Robin and Christian's wife helping Andrea, who had collapsed. Christian's wife lashes out, accusing Sean of neglect, and Andrea refuses to see him. Heartbroken, Sean spends the next few days staying with Christian. Sean never stopped drawing, remembering the doctor's advice that it might help him heal. He filled page after page and showed them to the doctor, desperate for answers. But she admitted the images were too complex to explain. Frustrated, Sean snapped. He was convinced this world wasn't real, that he was trapped in some alien dimension and needed to escape. Suddenly, his nose began to bleed, and the next moment, he was in a hospital. Nearby, a woman was in labor and passed away during delivery. When Sean looked closer, the woman appeared to be Andrea. Panic surged until he awoke, realizing it was only a dream. He rushed home to check on Andrea, but strange visions returned. Robin and Christian's wife seemed like aliens tormenting Andrea. Then the images faded, revealing nothing had happened. In the baby's room, Sean noticed new paintings he didn't remember making, scenes from a place called Astor. Believing this might hold the answers, he drove there, recognizing the landscapes from his own sketches. They were memories from his childhood, revived by the head injury. At Astor, he found his old family home, and, to his shock, his long-dead father sitting outside. Sean knew it couldn't be real, yet felt comfort as they talked. His father told him he would be a good dad because he had a strength his father lacked. Overcome, Sean thanked him, saying, "Your son loves you very much." As Sean turned to leave, a gunshot rang out, the moment of his father's passing. The same blinding light he'd once seen filled the air, and it felt as if Sean was finally returning to his real world. The story circles back to the school where Sean first fell. Dizzy and sick, he vomits as an unfamiliar man approaches and offers him a ride. Though Sean has never met him, the stranger clearly knows Sean. His name is written in a notebook alongside many others, each with precise coordinates, as if tracking who will return and from where. The man says eerie things. Re-entry isn't a joke. They've been digging around in your brain all night. You're brave. Most can't come back this fast. He drops Sean at his house without further explanation. Sean doesn't ask questions. He only wants to be with Andrea. What we've witnessed, the blinding light on the roof, the strange visions, may all have taken place in a single night. The 2 wounds on Sean's head match the tubes he remembered in his first vision, suggesting his encounter might have been real and not just hallucination, perhaps an alien world manipulating his mind. Back home, Sean lies beside Andrea, a quiet smile on his face as if finally free. But then comes one last twist. Every drawing Sean ever made, the strange landscapes, symbols, and alien figures, now covers the bedroom wall. If his experience was only a dream, how did the drawings appear? The film ends on this unsettling question, leaving us unsure whether Sean ever truly came back. One way to understand the story is from a purely psychological perspective. Ignore the mysterious man at the end, and Sean's experience becomes a journey of mental healing. The film's title itself hints at inherited trauma. Sean's father struggled with mental illness and ultimately died by taking his own life, and Sean may have feared the same fate. What we see is Sean battling his own mind, a symbolic fight to break a cycle of despair, his lonely childhood without parents, and the belief that his father's death was somehow his fault, likely fueled this struggle. Approaching fatherhood could have triggered it, but by the end, Sean regains control and chooses life, proving he's stronger than the darkness he inherited. The other possibility is that Sean really was abducted by aliens. The bright light at the start could have been the moment they took him, studied his mind, and experimented on him. The stranger's notebook, filled with names and coordinates, suggests many others were taken and tracked for re-entry. Even the twin wounds on Sean's head match the tubes he envisioned, pointing to an actual procedure. Yet the ending stays ambiguous. Those strange drawings still cover the wall, hinting that Sean might never have escaped, or that the aliens still watch him. As for my take, the film cleverly supports both readings. I lean slightly toward the psychological journey. It feels like a story of breaking inherited trauma, but the alien clues are just strong enough to keep you questioning long after the credits roll.